Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. My name is Bonnie Northgraves. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Jazz Storytime. So we're on episode 8, and today we're going to be talking about a song called Someday, Sweetheart. This was written in 1919 by John and Reb Spikes. So they're two brothers making a really formidable musical team. Yes. Shout out to Jen Hodge. Jen was the first person I played this song with, and I think she was the first person I played the verse with as well. I think I'd heard the song before, but I never played it with any band. So shout out to Jen. Yes. All right. Let's jump right into it and get into the piano cam. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to play this in the key of B flat. So that's the tune. Someday, Sweetheart. Okay, so written in 1919 by John and Reb Spikes. This was actually a tune that was written on the West Coast in LA. So a lot of the time I think things that were happening on the West Coast, especially when it came to hot jazz, didn't get mentioned nearly as much. So this is kind of a fun one to talk about. So let's talk about John and Reb Spikes for a bit, because they're a pretty cool writing duo. They're two brothers, and in 1911 they opened an open air fun show, is what it's kind of described as. So it was just a bunch of entertainment. There was music, there was acts, there was comedy, there was all kinds of different stuff that was happening there. So in 1911, Jelly Roll rolls through town, and he starts off performing in their open air show as like a comedy act. And at this point, their show had already had a piano player, and eventually, of course, it came out that Jelly Roll was like this great piano player, and he started sort of taking over the piano player's job, and eventually the piano player was like, "Whoosh, you out of here, kid." So Jelly Roll joins them, and over a couple years, I think he's there. At a certain point, they do a bit of recording with him as well. I don't know what the tunes are that they've done off the top of my head, but I do know that they did some recording and such with him. In 1915, these two brothers start a big band called the So Different Orchestra, and there's a cute little story in an article that I read about this that I think Reb Spikes is talking about how they actually got the original Dixieland jazz band unbooked from a gig because their jazz band was so good that the booker wanted their band instead. So Reb was the saxophone player, one of the saxophone players in that group, and I believe the musical director, leader in that band. So fast forward a couple of years, the orchestra is doing all kinds of great things. They decide in 1919 to open a music store, and by Reb's accounts, there were no stores in 1919 that would sell records made by black artists. So they were a hub for any black artists, recording artists, and they would sell specifically those kind of records. And there's little clips of him talking about how really rich and famous people would pull up in their big long stretch limos. They come to the front door, they say, "I want some of those dirty records." So they would tell about how getting a Bessie Smith record in, it would sell out in a matter of hours, and then they'd just order another shipment in. Sell out, constantly selling out these amazing records by these amazing musicians. From there, Sunshine Records began a recording company. I don't think it lasted too long, maybe a couple years. And then after that, in 1922, the two brothers went into music publishing. I think also, jumping back to 1911 when they had their open air show, they also were writing musicals, like musical theater type musicals, which some of their music was featured in. Anyways, 1919, so about the era where they're opening the record company and they have the music store, is when they write this tune. Alberta Hunter, I think, was the first person to record this song for Black Swan Records, and Jelly Roll also recorded the song in 1923 and 1926. So there's some fun information about those two writing duo and all their adventures, and I'm going to sing you to close out, as I usually do, Someday Sweetheart. I'll keep it in B flat. I think that'll work. Yeah. That'll work. You told me that you loved me. Fool, I believed it true. You broke your vow, and now somehow it seems I'm always blue. But there'll come a day when you will pay. You'll sit and cry, for me you'll pine, and the days that have gone by. Someday, sweetheart, you're gonna be sorry for what you've done to my poor heart. You will regret those vows you broke, dear, and those little things that made us drift apart. You're happy now and can't see how those weary blues will come to you. But what you sow, so shall you reap. Sweetheart. Alright, so that's Someday Sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining in and watching. My name is Bonnie, and I'll see you next time. Bye!